Yes, so this is a type of scenographic analysis that we're trying to do. We're trying to get you to do. So we're trying to break down the parable of the cave, right? To see it in more intense detail and to analyze it on a more critical, generative, and rigorous level. So we're using theater as a tool and scenographic sort of construction in order to break down the text and give us more sort of smaller playing fields to work with, easier threads to sort of tie and untie. And so I've given you 10 scenes, and like I said, they are uh, you know, of my interpretation of the scenes. Another exercise we could do is what would be your interpretation? What would be your 10 scene model? But I've given you a 10 scene model to work with, and the prompt is that you are asked to pick out one scene and to construct, an argument, to imagine the scene in more fuller detail, first of all. Secondly, to analyze that scene. And third, to construct an argument or interpretation around that one scene. So the first thing you want to do is you want to say, well, I picked this scene, for example, scene 3 or scene 5, right? Um, and then why did you pick it? Why did it strike your fancy, right? What appeals to you about the scene, right? And then you want to sort of imagine the scene in greater detail, and then you want to critique and the scene and make arguments. And so the parable of the cave, most everyone knows it, right? In some way, shape, or form, they've heard about it, and most people will say, will look at it and say, yeah, yeah, that's, I get that, I agree with it, or I understand it, right? So it really operates like all parables do on a universal level. But Socrates is trying. It's a real sort of existential parable. It's about how we live, think, breathe as human beings, right? And the processes that we go through, right? So when you pick out a specific scene, right, you're picking out a sort of a certain scene of our existential sort of theater or existential drama, and you're saying, I think this scene, right, this part of the human experience, right, is key, right? So, a lot of people when they read this text, right, they go straight for one scene, and you know, and I'm sure you can, sort of guess what that scene is. So it's the scene of enlightenment, right? And most people only talk about the enlightenment part and really don't talk about anything else.